taking the time out of your day to join us for ours. Angel and Eric here helping you get your business right. We're a company that's involved in isms and osophies. That's Eric isms and Angel osophies. And one of those is small change makes a big difference.
True. And it does make a difference. And if you were to tell me I was getting a 5% discount, or our company had grown 5%, or I'd gotten a 5% raise, I would not be all that impressed. But apparently 5% more is the answer. If you want greater success, a better career, healthier lifestyle, if you want to stop saying, if I had only, and then start living the life of your dreams, making small changes to reach big goals is the answer, says entrepreneur and best-selling author Michael Alden in his new book, 5% More, Making Small Changes to Achieving Extraordinary Results. He began researching the concept of 5% More when he realized that most self-help programs don't work because they require people to make these gigantic changes in their lifestyles. But he says, if you just put 5% more effort into any aspect of your life, not only will you achieve your goals, you will surpass them. Michael Alden, welcome to the Experience Pros Radio Show.
Angela, thank you so much. You know what? I think I'm just going to just end it there. You did such a great job.
Well, Michael, we're thrilled that you are here and you find yourself in good company. One of the analogies that we used is it's just a 1% change. If you leave Los Angeles and make a 1% change on your course to New York City, you end up in Miami. So talk to us a little bit about the thought behind your 5% more.
Yeah, again, I think you gave a great introduction to it, but, what happened was my first book, Ask More, Get More, was a #1 bestseller. We did great with it, and people told me that, Mike, in order for you to make money, you're going to have to do all these back-end programs, and you're going to have to do seminars and webinars and all this other stuff, and I didn't want to do that. And then I started looking at what those guys were doing, and I started looking at all these other books and these webinars and seminars that are out there, and they preach these things that are unrealistic, like you need to be 9 times better or 10 times better than everybody else in order to be successful. You need to be 100, be on 100% of the time, be 100% on 100% of the time, and that never really works. And so I said, what if we looked at the small changes, like what I've done in my life, and the 5% more mentality really kind of came to me. I talked about the story in the beginning of my book about how I was in a spin class, and at the end of the class, she says, look, I want you to give me 5% more effort for these next 5 minutes. And then she said, anybody can do anything 5% more. And she went on to discuss the benefits, the health-related benefits of just giving that 5% more effort. And as I was in that class, I'm kind of a big guy, and I'm pedaling through it. I'm looking around the whole room in different shapes, sizes, and ages, and I noticed nobody slowed down. In fact, people probably gave more than 5% more effort. And that's when it kind of came to me, and that's when I jumped off the bike, literally started writing things down, and that ultimately became 5% more.
And that was the last day of the spin class.
Okay, so Michael, let's put this in something really practical, because it's true. I mean, the 10 times effect and all of that. We're compounding and we're doing more. We're always on, and anytime you go to a webinar, of course, there's 10 more things you need to sign up for that you aren't already doing. If we're going to put 5% more in, because I think in the beginning we're not going to see the result as quickly. Like, what does that really look like? What does 5% more at work look like? Am I saying 5 extra minutes? Am I making 5 phone calls? What does that look like realistically?
Sure. Again, a lot of people, when they go at things, whether it be work-related or diet-related, they just want to go all in, right? So they say, they wake up Monday morning, they say, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to hit them with a high, and I'm going to go really, really, really hard. And what happens is, and I'm sure you see this all the time, they screw it up. They ultimately fall off track. They fail. They ba-ba-booey it. They screw the whole thing up because nobody can sustain 10 times, 9 times, whatever it is over time. So as it relates to work, what I say to people is, look, let's say you're in sales, right? And you're banging out 100 phone calls a day, or you're maybe you're making 100 sales a day, which would be amazing. Let's take a look at what your life would look like if we just made 105 more phone calls a day, or we made 105 more sales a day. Let's just hold there for a few weeks and see what happens. And I've done that, and depending on the scenario, I've been able to show people how if you just held that and just remained static with just 5% more over time, that 5% more bump in that 1 week can turn into 50, even 100 times more productivity for just an individual. And then if you could just imagine what would happen from a sales organization or from any business if you just, when you talk about compounded, if you just did that across all aspects of the company. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in sales. Like you had mentioned earlier, is it what if you were in the office 5% more of the time? What if you were earlier 5% more of the time? What if you stayed just 5% later than everybody else. Those are the people that become successful in virtually any business. It's not the smarter people. It's not the people with the higher, education. The Yales, the Harvards, or anything like that. I went to Springfield College in Springfield, Massachusetts. I barely got out of high school, and then I ultimately went to law school and graduated with honors. And I did that by making small, progressive steps.
It makes all the sense in the world. It resonates with us because so many of us have done certain things, Mike, that the pendulum swings so far to the extreme. And I buy into this whole idea that a small change makes huge or achieve extraordinary results, as the text might say. Let's go back to sales for just a minute, because you talked about, if you made 5 more phone calls or you closed 5 more deals, how life would change. One of the things that you talk about in the book is increasing your sales or your service prices, your product or service prices,
sure,
by 5%, because people will actually pay for it if they find the value in it.
Yeah, look, if you have a great product, or if you offer a great service, or even if it's mediocre, let's just be honest. A lot of services and a lot of restaurants and products out there, they're really not that good, but you still got a lot of customers, right? Look, if you're struggling, I told the story. This is a true story. I used to go to this little cafe in my hometown in Beverly, Mass, and they ultimately they had to close their doors. They opened up again, but we can save that story for later. But I was looking at her prices, and I was looking at what she was doing, and she was struggling. She actually had to get a second job, and I was like, man, her name is Tori. I said, you work so hard. I said, what if you just increased your prices just a little bit? What would happen? And she was reluctant to do that, and ultimately she ended up doing it at the end. And then she opened up a whole new business, and she's probably one of the most successful little cafes/bagel shops here, and she's expanded it into other things like catering and all these other things, because 5%, $1 versus $1.05 doesn't seem like a lot of money, and you'd mentioned that in the beginning. But when you compound that over time, or when you compound that across all different aspects of the business, it can really truly be, extraordinary success. It doesn't have to be extraordinary success. Yeah. It can be just those small incremental things that will ultimately change anybody's life, and that's what I love about 5% More, is because it really does apply to every aspect of pretty much any business or any part of your personal life, and anybody truly can do it.
I love it. You're right. Anybody can do it. Stop excuses. No more I can't. No more I'm not going to live that life. We're going to do something a little different than our competitors. We're going to be a little more creative. We're going to think a little bit harder. We're going that extra mile. Michael, how do we get a copy of the book, 5% More, Making Small Changes to Achieve Extraordinary Results?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. It's available everywhere. It's available for pre-order right now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Tattered Cover. It's available on Target. It's literally available everywhere. The book is going to be released on August 29th. But if you'd like to pre-order it, please visit those websites, and I'd love for you to take a look at it.
You got it. Michael Alden, thanks for joining us. Folks, don't go anywhere. More positive business talk on the other side.
Bye for now.
You're listening to the